What's good, everybody? It's your boy Kwame here from Kwame's Watchlist, and you are watching the Afterwatch, where I watch the latest movies by myself or with a friend, and I sit down immediately and debrief and talk about everything that we've just seen. Now, the person sitting next to me might be a familiar face to you. He's been on here before. We actually had him here to watch Project Hail Mary, and on that very episode, he revealed that his favorite movie was The Prestige. So because we're talking about one of the movies of the summer, the Odyssey, Christopher Nolan movie, who else to talk about this film with than a guy who loves Nolan movies? So as you can see, Tony, say hello to the people.
Oh, hey guys, I can't wait to talk about this.
Bro,
I cannot wait.
It's good to have you back,
There's
man.
a lot to dissect.
Bro.
It's a pleasure to be here, and yeah, got to act like I've been here before.
Yeah, exactly. You're not new to the game now. You're not new to the game. But yeah, listen, we've just seen the Odyssey, like quite literally, when did we leave the cinema? Like an hour ago?
Yes.
Yeah, so we've literally just walked out of the cinema. Head still kind of like processing everything that we've just seen.
A lot to dissect.
So much happened. So we're just going to go straight into it. We're just going to go straight into it, right? So Tony, you know the first question that I asked. So fresh out of the cinema, the Odyssey, what are your thoughts on it?
Hand that guy all the awards. Listen, come next
Already?
year. Listen, come next year, Feb award season.
Yeah.
Nolan, there's going to be a shot of Nolan out here looking like MJ in the Grammys 1984.
Just carrying bear.
Because just give it to him. Just hand it. Like, no, honestly, that was top tier. Top tier. That's what films are made for. Or that's what cinemas are made for.
Facts.
I think we're in a period now. You've got, you know, all the Netflix, like even films on Disney. They they come on 2 months later. They're already on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
This is why the cinema should not die. Like, this is the reason why films will keep being produced. Because what we saw today was just, you know, we see that scores. This is cinema.
Yeah, this is cinema. It's true.
That
pure spectacle.
Yeah.
But in like the best way. Like, it's spectacle in the way that Nolan does it, right? Like, there's so much about it. It's like very awe-inspiring, if that's even a word or a phrase. Like, it's just, the scale is huge, absolutely huge. And like, I think first thing that we have to say, is go and see this, first of all, but go and see it on as good a screen as you can as possible.
Yeah. You might not get a full IMAX experience, because even in the UK, I think there's only two
proper, like two or three maybe,
where you get full IMAX, which is 1 point. Is it one? I always forget the dimensions, but you know, you still have your Limaxes, as they call them, and you want to see that on as big of a screen as you can.
Possible. And this is the first film that was shot entirely on IMAX.
Yeah,
it completely utilizes everything, the scale, everything. It's just massive, and it deserves to be seen on as good a screen as possible.
Absolutely.
Like we're lucky we live in London. Not everybody has an IMAX screen available to them, but if you have one, go see it there. But just go see this movie. This movie is absolutely incredible. Okay, so before we go into like the deep dive on the actual movie itself, do you have a relationship with the Odyssey already?
Not quite.
Okay.
Because I didn't actually read the Odyssey as a kid. I think in the last year or two, when I knew this film was in production, went on YouTube, quick recap, what's the Odyssey about, just to get a glimpse of what to expect. I kind of didn't want to go in full spoilery of like, okay, this is exactly what happens or not. But I think I still wanted to grasp a bit of the story, so in case I see a particular character, or obviously from watching Troy, which gives you a bit of, it kind of carries on from.
It's like the sequel,
right?
It's
almost like the sequel.
Like the de facto sequel to Troy. Yeah.
So I think I don't have a particular relationship with the Odyssey, but I think from what I gathered, I felt like I had enough to walk into the cinema and feel like I'm not completely bamboozled by what I'm seeing.
Yeah. I'm the same. I think the majority of my Greek mythology knowledge comes from movies and TV shows. Like, it's very limited. I'm not gonna sit here and talk like I know loads about
Hercules, Perseus.
That's what I'm saying. Like Hercules, Percy Jackson, like those sorts of things. That's literally the limit of my knowledge. But like, there's certain things and certain aspects of the movie that we'll talk about later that I kind of had some level of familiarity with. But in terms of the actual story, like
same.
no relationship to it whatsoever.
Did you read it as a kid?
No.
Okay, cool.
No. Yeah. We didn't really do Greek mythology at school. Like, our thing was like Shakespeare. Do you know what I mean? So we never really got to like the Greek epics. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, like it's okay. So we're both in the same space. And then I guess we already know how this guy feels about Chris Nolan, innit? But talk to us about how you feel about Christopher Nolan, and I guess how that, if it did, influence your anticipation for this movie.
Yeah, I don't know if I said that in the last time I was here, but I got to meet Chris Nolan.
When? Sorry. When?
Oh my gosh, this was coming to 10 years. Actually, it would have been over 10 years ago. So he came to my film school to do a talk, and you can imagine everyone rammed. So we've got like a mini cinema in it holds about maybe 60 people, 70 people.
Okay.
He came into the National Film and TV School to do like a talk, and it was rammed. Okay. But yeah, he just came to talk about his experiences and stuff, and we ended up taking a big selfie picture with him in the theater. And I mean, he was already pretty much my favorite director. So as soon as, and I'm not going to say every film he's made has been perfect. We could talk about that at another point. But one thing he does really well is storytelling. 100%. And I think if you want to start with this film, you could talk about the sound or like the visuals and like the acting and stuff. But what he never fails to do is give you a good story. And I think the way he structures his story, the arc of a film, especially when you're jumping between times. That's what this film is about. It's about, Odysseus taking 20 years or whatever, how long it is to get back home. And there's a lot of jumping in and out of like, okay, this is when the Trojan horse scene happened, or the incident happened, to him trying to make his way back home, to what's going on in his home, where, you've got these suitors and stuff who are trying to marry his wife. And we could talk about spoilers, right?
This is spoilers.
So, there's all this going on, but I think Chris does a great job of like putting everything in place where I'm watching it and I'm not being, when is this now? Is this in the past? I think, it does a great job of that, man.
So this guy loves Christopher Nolan, is the short version. This guy glazes him, bro. That's fine, that's his guy.
He's a fan. Is
he still, so he's your favorite director,
still,
in short? Okay, perfect, cool. So let's get into that movie then.
Okay.
Because obviously I know we spoke a little bit about the movie as we were kind of making our way here. I'm definitely down to do a rewatch.
I need to watch it again too.
Yeah, for sure. So let's talk about this movie, right? Let's talk about this movie. Like, this was just an experience. Like, it's the only way I can really use to like describe it. As people, or as somebody who wasn't familiar with the story of the Odyssey. How do you feel about the way that this story itself was portrayed on screen?
I think, from a storyline perspective, it takes you through, it's like a roller coaster. It sounds very corny, or cliched, but when you think of a film, you have a certain arc of a film. And I felt like with this, from the start to the beginning, you're literally on a ride. Sometimes you're going through a loop. And it almost felt like Odysseus' journey to get back home. Like, it just felt like a cycle of like, okay, when are we? But I think from the takeoff to the landing was brilliant. I think even the actors the cast did a phenomenal job of, playing their characters to a T. Like, initially I saw the cast and I thought, I'm not sure about certain characters. For instance, Robert Pattinson, I wasn't sure him as the villain was going to be mine. But I think he played that role to a T. And I think generally the storyline just flowed, and I just thought it was brilliant.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And like, we'll come back to the casting, because there's so much to talk about with casting, right? But I completely agree with you on that sense of, I think that non-linear structure was really quite effectively used.
And the thing with films is, like, you talk about a takeoff of a film, the start of the film, you want to be thrown right into the story. But at the same time, I think a lot of films fail to land the ending. And I felt like this whole film from start to finish, it just gives you a nice, especially when you're jumping in and out of like the present to like 20 years ago to like 10 years ago, and that's all kind of intertwined together. I think he does a really good job of putting all that into a finished, it feels like a complete meal.
Yeah.
Like a full, satisfactory, like complete starters, main, desserts, and all of that.
Everything.
Yeah.
I think what's really interesting as well is with the way that the story is told, like it almost reflects Odysseus's mind state, right? Because when we meet him, he's not all the way sure where he is, who he is, what's happened to him, how long things have been. And as he's piecing the story together bit by bit, we are also getting to see that construction alongside with him at the same time.
That's a great point. Like when we get to the end of the film, you see clarity there.
Yeah.
Who he is, what he stands for, and his desire to obviously be better ultimately. When we see him at the start, you feel like there's someone who's arrogant or someone who's, and I think that was my frustration watching him and his crew being like, because there was one point I always looked at it like, these guys will never learn, man. Like,
yeah. You said that to me a couple times.
I was just like, bruv, come on, man. Like, what is going on? But you could just see as the film's going on, especially that scene where he gets to talk to I think it's like the ghosts of like people, his fallen soldiers or something. There might be a particular term for it, but in that moment, you see he's taking in everything, and that's where the clarity hits in of like, this is my mission. This is what's at stake. This is basically what we need to do, because they basically lay out the path for him. You're going to come across the sirens, you're going to come across you know, you can't, and this is where, and I think at that point you just like, it's actually a good point which I didn't think about. Like the film takes us through his whole thought process,
his mental journey,
and as we get to the end, we really see who he becomes.
And he's so much more accepting of things by the time we get to the end, right? Like, because when we meet him, he's hailed as this hero, this genius, this strategist who was able to single-handedly, you know, overcome Troy's walls that they couldn't do as an army for 10 years, and his plan, and he's this person. But then as he gains more clarity and he gains more understanding, and his arrogance in his defiance of the gods and of fate and things that he's, you know, that's meant to come his way. And then when we see him at the end, he's very accepting of it all. He's very much at peace. But we also get to see his version of the events of the story that made him a legend, the war that turned him into a legend. And his version of it is very different to how it's perceived as well, which I really, really loved. I think it was that completion of his mental journey from like willing leader, this super smart, revered person, to this older man who, given the benefit of time, has learned to reflect upon his actions, his contributions, and seeing them in a completely different light. Chris Nolan has this really amazing way of utilizing time as a narrative tool that I don't think anybody else seems to be able to do.
I'm trying to think of any director who comes close to Nolan when he does this. You could think of some of the films you could talk about Interstellar, you could talk about Inception. Obviously, you've got this film, even you've got Tenet as well.
Tenet is definitely one.
It's an interesting, and even with the last one he did, Oppenheimer, because it's essentially going through the trial of what happened, but you're going back and forth. I haven't seen Oppenheimer in a while, but you see, he does a great job of like keeping everyone in the loop of what's happening here and where and there. I mean, Inception I was 17 when that film came out. I remember I needed to watch that again to be like, okay, really process the time situation there. But I think with this film, even though I do want to watch this again as soon as possible, I felt like I was strapped in and fully focused on where we're going with this story.
And I think his direction is very controlled, because despite the vastness of it all, the scale of it all, as you mentioned, the incredible cast, there were even more actors and actresses in this movie than I even realized, right? So there's so much that's huge about this movie, but it completely is controlled, it's measured, and he knows exactly what's required in what moment to kind of make it hit its hardest as well, which I absolutely loved. What did you think about Nolan's take on, you know, the Odyssey as a story itself? Because there were aspects of this movie which I was expecting to see a lot more fantastical, the gods and monsters part of it. Like we heard a lot about the like Zeus and Poseidon, and we saw a physical representation of Athena. But bar the Cyclops and I think the monster, which name I can't remember, but the one that took 6 people. We didn't really see much about this story that makes up the kind of fantasy elements of it.
It's a tricky one because I expected to see a lot more because, you know, as I mentioned to you before, I love the whole Greek mythology, even though I've never read the book, but I think I liked the idea of like a Clash of the Titans where you're going to see all these gods and like maybe potentially a version of Hades in there or Zeus or even Poseidon. Because that was the whole thing of him really pissing off Poseidon to actually, you know, so I thought we were going to see a sort of representation of that. But no, even with the sirens, like I think they did a great job of capturing that scene because I was like, I wonder what we're going to hear when he's going through the passageway with the sirens and stuff, because I thought, is he going to hear like some beautiful song? Is he going to hear like a scream of maybe his wife being like butchered into pieces or something? Like, I genuinely didn't know how they were going to capture that. I wish we saw more of it, but I think they also did a good job with that. But no, we didn't get as much as, and I think Nolan, I wouldn't say he tried to play it safe because it's so easy for that to kind of look very comical.
I think he's quite wary of fantasy spectacle, so I'm not surprised that he didn't lean into it. I think famously it's what made the Batman version he made so realistic and enjoyable, right? But I think when it comes to this, it works in some elements, because that scene you talked about the sirens and things, I thought it was such an interesting take, because we've never, like you, I was expecting to hear the siren song. But instead we see what that experience is like from the sailor's perspective. And I thought that was a really inspired choice. But at the same time, I think the lack of it did the film a disservice in some moments, because the fact that he annoyed Poseidon never really was pushed as a narrative tool. Because he was just like, it's not true. And we don't really see it or hear it or have them tell us. Like, there's definitely moments where they say the crew thought this was happening, but I think the absence of these characters didn't really make that message about this being the cause of all of these troubles really hit as close to home as it could have done.
I agree.
Let's talk about the cast, right? Like, this film had an absolute abundance of
star-studded
acting talent, like top-tier acting talent. Were there any performances that stood out for you?
I would say that really stood out. I feel like, look, Matt Damon he's a phenomenal actor. Like, his catalog is already insane.
It is.
It's already insane what he's covered and achieved. But I think seeing him in this role, I definitely didn't expect it. He wouldn't mind. I'm trying to think, who could have been my first or best pick for this? It might not be Matt Damon, actually. But, I mean, he does have a series of films where he's trying to return home.
It's very true. This is very, very true, actually. Very, very true.
The Martian,
that's actually very, very true.
I saw something like they spend so much money trying to get this guy back home.
Literally.
But I did not expect that level of performance from him. I think Anne Hathaway is phenomenal.
She was great.
And she bodies that role.
Like, she's very, I agree. I think aside from Matt Damon, she's probably my standout. I think the scene where, what's Tom Holland's, Telemachus.
Yeah, I never know how to pronounce
Tom
that.
Holland's character, when he comes back,
Yeah.
when he comes back and they're having that discussion between them having her pick a suitor, finally, and you really see like the frustration build up and the years of waiting and resentment. Like she really carries that. She
carries that,
really, really well.
She's like, I want Odyssey.
Yeah,
like.
Which is understandable.
But the way she carries that, and you've seen her in a lot of great stuff. She was phenomenal in Les Mis. Even her performance as Catwoman, actually, for Dark Knight Rises was great. But I think you just see an element of her in this role as like a mother, as a queen, you know, and she was great. But I think for me, the person who actually took me by surprise was Robert Pattinson as the villain.
I really liked him. As I think. Like you, I might actually no. I wasn't that concerned about him being a villain. I didn't actually know if he was a villain. I didn't know anything about his character.
I think it was from the trailer when I saw that, and that was probably one of my quirks about the film. You know, the language they used. You're pining for a daddy that you never even met. So I could tell he was going to be a villain, but I just didn't expect. And you can see a bit of range with him. He tries to be clever and witty, and he also gets into the kind of not caricature version of like a villain, you know, chickening out, standing back, getting people, go get him. And I'm just like, it's time for you to pull the string. It's like, no, like, you know. So he plays that a bit, but I think just generally, I was really impressed by it. And you can see him evolving as a character from, you know, when he started off as a young boy, and now you see him in certain roles, and you just think, like, even from Batman, I think he's going a long way, and I just think the future for, you know, Robert Pattinson is just it's
big. No, he was dope. He was so good. Like, I think exactly as you said, he was smarmy, he was vindictive. Like,
smarmy is the word.
Yeah,
like, that is the word.
Yeah, like he was so easy to hate. Like, just like, it's like, it reminds me of like, what do you call it, Joffrey Baratheon.
Yeah.
Just kind of grown up, do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, slimy, will do whatever it takes to like get the thing that he wants. And in moments, I thought he might bag the queen. Like, it felt like she was slowly turning coming around to it.
You've been waiting for your husband for like 20 years. What are you going to do?
Yeah, I hear it still.
Like, bruv, like, your kingdom's falling apart.
Yeah, war's coming.
Your war's coming. You're waiting 20 years. What are you going to do? You need to bag a man.
Yeah, it's true. So, like, I really liked him in this. But I think there's an argument to be made, right, that the sheer volume of A-list stars in this movie could be a distraction. There were moments where, like, there were actors that I didn't know were in this movie, and after a certain amount of time, it almost became like spot the cameo.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I didn't know Charlize Theron was in this movie. I had no idea. Like, I think a lot of the news was dominated with Tom Holland, John Bernthal, Zendaya, Anne Hathaway. Like, those were like the Robert Pattinson. Like, those were like the headlines. I didn't realize Charlize Theron was going to be in it. I didn't realize Han from Fast and the Furious was going to be in it. I didn't realize Bro from EastEnders was going to be in it as well. It's terrible that I don't know his name off the top of my head. My bad. Yeah. But like, there was just so many people.
I think for me, I do agree. Sometimes when a film is very star-studded, I mean, sometimes you need the big stars to sell. This film was going to sell anyways. Like, this was the first time in a long time I've been to a cinema and it was absolutely jam-packed.
Yeah.
Absolutely jam-packed. You're queuing
very much so.
to get food. You're queuing to just get in. You know, it's been a very long time I've experienced that. So this film was always going to sell. But I think sometimes it carries too much, like you said, when it's overly star-studded, you start seeing, and some performances, you start to see the actor rather than the person they're playing.
Yeah.
And this is my concern with a few films, and, you know, that we get. Like, I think Zendaya, for instance, she's a phenomenal actress, but I felt like I was just seeing Zendaya. Than Athena.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And it's not because she's playing a role that is it's just I'm seeing her perform as her, you know. So I think there's some and it's a tricky one. It's a really tricky one. I was talking because we're talking about Greek mythology here. Do you play use Greek a Greek cast.
Yeah, I mean, and that's been a big talking point about this film. So what are your thoughts on this whole like discourse about, I guess, doing a story about Greek mythology and the casting choices that they made in this film?
I was talking to my colleague who's Greek about this, and she was saying to me that, look, I get why people are pissed off about this, but the thing is, if you used a Greek cast that no one really knows or recognizes, how much traction is this film going to get? So other arguments as well, and this is coming from her who is Greek, she was like, look, if you're getting people to speak, Greek actors to perform in a film where you're using particular dialect or tone or accent, and obviously they're speaking in their Greek accent, how's this going to fare? Do you go down the route of like, say, Mel Gibson with The Passion of the Christ, where literally the whole crew is, apart from, I think there was one person, Penelope Cruz, I think was the only, maybe getting the cast wrong, but majority of that film were people from that side of the world. So I think that's the argument you have here. And it's a tricky one because when we do it with certain films, we also get frustrated. Like Black Panther, for instance, Children of Blood and Bones, that's a whole conversation there. You think about, there's so many, even some of the Egyptian films we've seen. You know, God's Kings of Egypt or so, and you've got, what's his face now, Batman? Oh, I forget his face now, his name. Christian Bale. Playing Moses. You know, so I think this conversation, you're never going to please everyone with it. I get it, and I think there should be a bit of balance here. I feel like there should have been a mix of like, you know, you still want to pay homage to the culture and the people that you're representing in this film, but at the same time,
it's like, it's weird. I think the frustrating thing is, right, I think there is a conversation to be had. Unfortunately, the majority of the people who are so intent on having the conversation are only doing so because there's actresses of colour who are playing key figures, like Lupita Nyong'o playing Helen of Troy, or Zendaya playing a version of Athena. And it's almost like, it becomes very frustrating because it actually diverts the dialogue away from the actual interesting conversation that could be had. Because yes, this is a story that's not real. So why does it actually matter who is playing whom? Is it impossible that Lupita Nyong'o can play a version of Helen of Troy? Absolutely, it's possible. Like the fact that she's playing a person whose face launched 1,000 ships is 100% viable to me. Do you know what I mean? So
she's a beautiful lady.
That's what I mean. Like, it's not, from what I've seen thus far, it's not having a conversation about where the line is. It's because there's black people playing characters who are traditionally represented by people who are traditionally white, which is ridiculous. Like, the beauty about film, the beauty about storytelling is that it's a story. So all versions of things can exist.
Absolutely.
Do you know what I mean? And it's not, I don't think we should be so focused on, let me rephrase, unless the story physically requires people to be of a certain ethnicity, or if you're telling a story about a certain time. Because I think the point you made about these Egyptian movies, that I grew up assuming Egyptian people from ancient Egypt were all fair-skinned people, because that was my representation from films that I saw growing up and cartoons that I saw growing up. But that's not historically accurate, and you're making a story about a historical time. So I think there's times where it's necessary, and there's times where there's flexibility. I just don't like the conversation being, well, she's dark skinned, so it's impossible that she could play this person.
I agree.
That's just not
true. 100% I agree. And I think where it matters, for instance, I love giving examples, but there was a whole thing about the cast of Motown, I think at the West End, being white.
Yes, I remember seeing that.
Motown.
Yeah.
This was, come on. So I think there's certain times, there's a time and place for when I feel that, you know, And
I think the other side of it is like, because I remember seeing that. I think if memory serves me correctly, I feel like that was done in response to something. Or something. So if I'm wrong, fair, I'll hold that. But I think there's also an element of is the subject matter being respected by the people who are telling the story, right?
Yeah.
Is the intent of the filmmaker to tell a good, respectable story in relation to where the source material comes from?
Yeah.
Because as a viewer, you can tell what's a money grab and you can tell what's not.
Yeah.
And I'm watching this. I'm not looking at any of these actors. I'm not looking at Christopher Nolan. I'm not looking at any of these people involved in the making of this film as them looking to appropriate a story that's not historically
correct,
belongs to him. Do you know? And I think that's the important side of it. There, if your intent is to tell a story with people who understand the nuance, the importance of telling and portraying these characters correctly, that's important. Not just getting the white faces just because. Absolutely. That's who they need to look like. Do you know what I mean? But
Travis Scott. Wait, hang on. How can we forget about this? Travis Scott is the first face we see at the start of this.
That's
film.
insane.
I'm just.
Are we real? That part's insane. That part's insane. Look, no hate. Good for him.
God.
Great musician. Got the opportunity. I hear it.
I was like, are you trying to speak in a British accent or like an American one? I was like, but that was not what. I mean, I knew he was in the film, but I didn't know what capacity he was in the film. But him being the first face you see at the start of the film.
Yeah, and I get why he was chosen because the character he was playing was like a bard, right?
Yeah, like a storyteller and all that stuff. Yeah,
picking him as that character is smart. I do think there's better people. Better people that could have played that role as a bard. Do you know what I mean?
Job. Like, he did a good job. Yeah. But I didn't think, that performance is a bit off. But I just thought, and that goes back to the whole thing. Sometimes your cast selection, does that take you away from it? Like, if you're watching I remember watching Game of Thrones and Ed Sheeran just pops up on my screen. And come on, like it takes you away because all you're seeing in that moment, even if he's talking for 15 seconds, is Travis Scott.
Yeah, it's Travis Scott.
And
I'm just thinking,
I'm gonna go sicko mode.
basically, just literally, he's like banging the thing down, just out like a light. Like a light. I'm like, okay, cool. I hear it. I don't want to see this in Greece, but cool. Cool. But I got the vision. I definitely got the vision. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was bad. That was so random. What did you think about the runtime?
How long was that film?
We were in for like.
What's the official runtime?
I'll be right with you.
Because I don't personally, and this might be a hill I'm willing to die on.
Okay.
I don't think films need to be longer than 3 hours.
So this was just under 3 hours.
Okay.
2 hours 53.
It didn't feel that long. I felt like, could they have taken 30 minutes out of the film? Yeah.
Okay.
But where this is...
That was my next question. Where?
I think, because it does such a good job of telling you all the stories and the arcs and stuff. I feel there's certain moments, like certain conversations, maybe with him and Calypso, for instance, or even the ending, that maybe... I don't know.
I disagree. I thought the runtime was fine.
I think, because I'm trying to go through the whole film now, I'm playing, okay, where can I chop this off? If my assignment was by tomorrow, turn that film from 2 hours 50 to 2 hours 30, where could I take time off?
I don't think you can.
Because it was actually brilliant to see the whole Trojan horse.
Yeah.
Because I thought I was just going to get a little flashback of like 2-3 minutes.
Yeah.
But you get a good sequence to see the whole, how they executed the whole thing.
And like, just on that note as well, even though we're talking about the runtime, but I do want to highlight that Trojan horse sequence, just because I think Chris Nolan knows how to find realism in fantastical setting.
Yeah.
Because I have never processed the story about the Trojan horse in a manner where, in the manner that he did in this movie. The fact that they had to deal with the tide and people were drowning in the horse, never comprehend. Like he was really able to display
how the horse even got into Troy.
Into Troy,
yeah.
Like I've always seen, obviously I've seen the version in Troy, and I know the story of the Trojan horse, but it always seemed like, the horse just wheeled up
popped up it.
Wheeled up, and they just brought it inside willy-nilly. Like,
this is phenomenal storytelling. Like, and I keep going on about Chris Nolan for so many things, but storytelling, because same thing. I've always heard this story about, the Trojan horse, it's just a little bit, it's a little, like a big horse that just wheeled up to the farm gate. They saw it, oh, cool, we're going to take this as a gift, and boom. But the way they structure that story to tell, like you said, people drowning or even having to breathe through like a straw for like the tides. And it's like talking about, look, we're even there's no if you need to piss or shit.
Yeah.
That's, even when they pick the horse and they're like, poking through it.
And you gotta keep bros silent. Bros just
they stab in the back, and like, even how the horse even got there, and they're using, I don't know if it's their slaves or so, to like drag this horse in, wheel it up.
Yeah.
It really, I don't know. I think he just does a phenomenal job in how he put that. That's almost like a little side quest in the film, but he does a good way of meshing everything all together. And
like, it was just such a it was the realism in that moment made me empathize with them in that moment, and putting myself in that scenario just really, because they said they were in there for days. So imagine being trapped inside a wooden horse for days. No food, no water, nowhere to take a shit, nowhere to take a piss. People are drowning. Like, it was crazy. It was crazy.
I'm really struggling to think where. I personally just still feel films do not need to be 3 hours long, because especially if you're thinking about a consumer's perspective, especially watching films at home. Now you pause the film, go to the kitchen, grab a food, come back. In cinema, you're stuck in there. You really don't want to leave, especially if it's a film that's just come out. You don't want to miss any scene. You make sure you're good throughout. But I don't think films need to be longer than 3 hours, and that's just a hill I would forever die on. This is like getting to that cutoff point, and I'm thinking if I was to shorten this, I think there were parts that I felt it would have been nice if it was shorter, but I get why it was still long. It's like, I'm trying to think of another film he's done recently that's been really long.
Oppenheimer
was really long, and I think with this, you needed every part to. I don't feel there was a scene that was really, really wasted.
I'm
sitting here thinking, how could I cut this film to 2 hours 30, 2 hours 20, and I can't.
Well, I imagine.
I just don't like films that are long, anyways.
But I imagine if the final version that we got was 2 hours 53 seconds, what is on the cutting room floor? Like, the director's cut will probably be 3.5, 4 hours. And I'd be here for it. I'll be honest with you. I'd be here for it.
Wrap this shit up, man. Wrap it up.
No, man. No, give me all the detail. Give me all the stuff that you wanted to tell me, but you couldn't tell me.
There wasn't really any wasted scene. Even with the dog, the whole story. Like, I think you needed that.
You did.
To understand the context of this dog has such a relationship with Odysseus. So when my man returns, it's like, the dog's like, and that was the first scene of, that's really Odysseus.
Yeah. Well, no, and also that's when Tom Holland knew. Yeah. Because of that first scene that we saw where Tom Holland tried to like pet it and the dog weren't having it.
Yeah.
And the moment he saw that the dog wagged his tail.
A random stranger.
To a stranger. It's like, oh, that's my dad.
That's my dad.
Like, it's just little small bits like that. No. Bro, run the director's cut, man. Run me the director's cut.
Run it to him. I'm good.
I want that.
I'm good.
I want that. Run me the director's cut, man. Give me 4 hours of this shit. I'll watch it. Maybe not 4 hours. That's a long time.
Yeah, it's a long time.
That's a long time. Maybe 3.5 hours.
Like the Irishman or whatever that film was.
Yeah, no.
Still can't get around.
3.5. 3.5. I'll take it. 100%. And then continuing talking about the characters, because there wasn't that many women like as a focal point in this story, right? We had obviously Anne Hathaway's character, was that Penelope? We had Athena, played by Zendaya. We had Cersei the witch. We just talk about that. And then, am I missing anybody?
You had Charlize Theron as
Calypso. Calypso. Yeah. Like, in comparison to how everybody else was represented, including Matt Damon, the villain, the crew, right? Mm-hmm. I did feel like some of these actresses were...
Lupita as well.
And Lupita, of course, especially Lupita, actually, was quite underutilized. We didn't really get to see a lot of them.
I think the only benefit of the doubt with this was... So with Penelope, you get her storyline from the perspective of like, you've got all these suitors waiting to marry her, and they're just literally rocking up to her crib every night, or don't know how long or how often, for a party, just waiting. But I think you saw, this was majority of the stories from the perspective of Matt Damon, of Odysseus, who's on this journey. And the context was the journey, he's there with his army. So there are no women there.
Yeah,
so
true.
And the only interaction he has is with a witch, or with, you know, Calypso, who's like, could you call her a witch as well? I didn't really know.
Well, she was feeding him the lotus flowers, isn't it? And it's the lotus flowers that had the effects. They clouded his mind. But she knew the effect that they had on him.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't call her a witch.
No, okay, maybe not. But I think it's just the idea of like, his journey did not have a lot of women on there. It's like, we're talking like, this off the top of my head, 300. He's out there with 300 men.
Yeah, sure.
Like, so I do agree, like, if you're looking at the perspective of, and I think from it's carried heavily with, you know, Penelope and the longing for her husband to return. I think obviously, and you also get the interactions with Zendaya, you know, she's almost like a spiritual guide with him, which, you know, I think that was actually one part of the film that initially, I'll be honest with you, I wasn't too sure about. I'm not sure if I'm getting the point of this Athena guide, because that's what it's like. It's like, I'm trying to think of an example. It's almost like with maybe Man of Steel, like the bit where you've got Jor-El like following Kal-El around like the room. Well, basically he had like his hologram was like Yoda just walking around like as a guide kind of thing. But it's only when we get to the end of the film and realize what the implications was with the guest rights or Zeus's law that I'm like, flip, okay, this makes a lot of sense. Because I was just like, why have you got Athena just following you around? Like, what's she doing? Is she really supplying anything? But it's like,
it was like twofold. No, it was like threefold, really, right? Because it was so. Because one of the things that I found really interesting about Athena was, obviously we knew why she was there. The little idol was given to him by his wife, right? So there's one.
That's one, right? True.
Then we had her just popping up at various points.
That's like, what are you here for?
But like, one of the things that I didn't really understand until we got to the end of the movie was why she always looked at him with so much pity and sadness, right? Because she was like the guide and
but she actually was, but is that, and going back to what you were just about to say, I think for me, I just saw her as, okay, you're a bit of a guide, but what are you actually doing? But it's only when we get to the end, I'm like, yo, that's probably his conscience in the sense of like gooey conscience of snap. I killed this god who was in this place. Because that's what Zeus's law is. Guest rights, you can't just the absolute nonsense when you're being a guest in someone's house or when someone, because it could be a god walking around there. Like, guess what? It's actually Athena. That really took, and I think I was, as soon as, because I was like, okay, after we watched this is a part of the casting, not casting because Zendaya she does her job, but I felt like this is a character of the film that I'm going to be a bit question mark about. Okay. Then when we got to that scene where he's looking back on the invasion of Troy and we see the head of who he chops off, who died. I was like, you know what? Take it back. Okay, just leave it there. We've scrapped that.
Nolan knew what he was doing.
Nolan, okay, you got me.
He knew what he was doing.
Got me. How dare I doubt you? Like.
But I think, in the director's cut, this is the stuff I would want to see more of. I think if they filmed more of that stuff, the like more scenes with Zendaya, more scenes with Anne Hathaway, more scenes with Calypso, like, I think that's what I would want to see more of. Because it's those interactions with the characters that I'm really intrigued to see. Like, I understood why Calypso kept Odysseus there for as long as he did and why she was willing to help him
7 years is a long time, bro.
Right? But I would have loved to have seen more about their life together. How she was more implicit in keeping him there than we saw.
Than eating herbs or whatever.
And also that like mental struggle she was dealing with when he was hearing about when he was saying his wife's name in his sleep and stuff. Same with Penelope Anne Hathaway's character, like, I would have loved to have seen that mental turmoil more about her having to pick a new suitor, or the struggle she's having with Odysseus not being there, or even just more about her raising Tom Holland's character more as a child. Like, more stuff like that I think would have been really cool to have these characters in particular just be expanded a bit more. But I get it, like, cinemas these days, they don't love 3-hour movies.
Give him director's cut, man.
I need the director's cut, bro. But like, because obviously that's why these days we get cinemas. That's why we get movies that are like 2 hours, 2.5 hours. We don't really get long films like that anymore because cinemas want the turnaround. Do you know what I mean? They want more people in the screen. So
money,
So, and sometimes it's cool. A lot of times it's not.
Yeah.
I want the director's cut.
And do you think as humans, attention spans are definitely getting a lot thinner? Like, you know, you see with a lot of films or TV shows on Netflix, you know, I think Matt Damon had a conversation about this recently. And he was like, you need to get the person's attention in like the first 5 minutes.
100%.
You know?
It's so hard, right? Because we live in a world of one, instant gratification. Like, you can get everything you want when you want in a very short space of time, right? So to capture someone's attention and hold it is a really hard thing to do. Like, and I think that's why spaces like the cinema are so important, because the culture of going to the cinema is you sit and you watch and you focus.
You can't get your phones out.
You don't get your phones out. You're not like, obviously you might have a little small kiki with the person you're with, whatever. But ultimately, you're in the space to watch and absorb this movie. And it's films like this that encourage people to do so. I did not see a single person whip out their phone, no lights were shining, no nothing.
Barely anyone moved to go to the toilet. Like, one person, and you could see he was like,
like try not to disturb
for
people.
me. I'm happy I need to go. Like, you could see he was struggling to get out, but like you could tell, like, and it just, I think it was so good to be in the cinema space because it just felt like this is what it was made for. Like I said this at the start, this film was made for cinema, and I think in just how I was even careful not, because I'm used to like just chatting away, like I'm watching a film and I just talk. Like,
I'll do the same.
I was being like, okay, no, come on, I need to respect it. Like sometimes I'll look at it like, then I'll be like, no, focus, leave him, let him have his thoughts. I'm just like, because I'm sitting there and it's like, bruh, are you that dumb? But it's like, no, but it's true. But even those moments, it's like, it's not because you don't. It's because you're enjoying the movie. Like, it's creating those reactions out of you. And you can't help but just be like, oh my gosh, these guys are getting on my nerves. Like, what are you doing? And I think we're in a space where like we're starting to see more and more of that come. I think, like, but it's amazing that we're in an era where we've still got directors like Chris Nolan who can create cinema spectacle events that bring people out to the cinema and will sit in a movie for 2.5, 3 hours. And will people just locked in? Watching locked the F in, man.
Do you know what, I will go out and say this about the Odyssey. I think the Odyssey is probably one of his most rewatchable movies that he's made. I don't think Oppenheimer is that rewatchable.
I haven't seen Oppenheimer
personally,
since it first came out.
Same, me neither. Tenet is definitely not that rewatchable.
I only saw that when it came out.
Same.
And I haven't gone back to watch it.
Same. Interstellar definitely has rewatch value. I'll give it that. Memento is my favorite Nolan movie. It's got rewatch value. All the Batmans, yes. But in terms of this recent movies, this film has so much rewatch value that I don't think we've got from a Nolan movie in a while.
And the story is not super spoilery because it's like, it's a story that a lot of people know about.
It exists already.
It already exists. It's like doing the Bible or like the story of Jesus and stuff, and it's like, okay, we know this is going to happen, or this is, you know. So I think it doesn't feel like, like for instance, I would give one of my favorite films, The Prestige, for instance. Does it have a lot of rewatch value to an extent? But the key part of The Prestige is the actual spoiler of it. I feel like once you already know that, you watch it with a different lens. When I go back to watch it, I'm like, okay, now but it doesn't have as much rewatch value, to be honest with you, than this. Inception absolutely. Because every time I was watching Inception, there was something else taking in, something else grasping. That film has so many layers to it, and this is a film that doesn't. You already kind of know a story. It's about a guy trying to make it home. But I think, it does. I think it's top 3 for rewatchable value.
I think exactly as you said, and we said this when we came out of the cinema, there's just so much that happens in this movie. There's so much to take in.
Yeah.
You almost can't, I mean, it's criminal that we're doing this with one watch. Like, we really should do this again. We should go watch the movie and then be filming this.
I might go and watch it again.
There's just so much to take in with this movie. Like, it's ridiculous. So, yeah, definitely one of his most rewatchable movies. As a Nolan stan that you are, where are you ranking this in his like list of movies that he's put out?
Yesteryear. So what's the cutoff point?
No, his total
catalogue. His catalogue is not that big.
13 movies.
13,
it's not huge. But you don't have to give me a number. If you feel comfortable giving me a number, do you know what I mean? Do it if you want to. But if you were to say, it's 13 movies, would you say
top 3?
Top 3.
Top 3.
So your top 3 Nolan movies.
Top 3, yes.
Okay.
There's a recency bias to say top 3, not 3.
Thank you for saying it. Thank you for saying
Recency bias could say top 3, not 3, so it could be 2 or 1. But I think
we'll give you
top 3. No, I'll keep it top 3.
We'll give you like a little bit of grace because we've just seen the movie.
Just seen it. Top 3.
So do you know what I will do? Is I'll shout you again. Okay. I'll shout you again in like a week.
Yeah.
And then see how you feel about it.
Okay.
But right now, top 3.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I can easily shuffle other films down for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have to ask now.
Okay.
So what's the 3?
Okay.
In no particular order.
No particular order.
Just give me the 3 movies. Yeah, let me not kill you
no particular
like
order. I would say from what I've seen most recently, Odyssey.
Okay.
Dark Knight.
Okay.
And it's going to be Prestige. Those 3.
Those are the 3.
Those are 3 for me.
But no particular order.
No particular order.
All right.
Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah.
Cool. I want to know what yours is. Like, those of you who've seen it, where would you rank the Odyssey in Christopher Nolan's full catalogue? Do you agree with him? If you don't, flame him in the comments. I beg. Flame him. Flame him. Don't ask me though, because I'm not answering that question.
I need to ask.
No, come on. It's fine. It's my thing, bro. My thing, I have free will.
Run your own podcast.
Yeah, I have free will. I can do what I want, bro.
Where would you top 5?
Probably top 5. I'll be real. I'm being conservative by saying top 5.
Okay.
Because, I think for me, my top 5 favorite Nolan movies is Memento, definitely.
That's the one I still need to watch.
Memento is amazing.
Yeah.
Dark Knight, obviously. I love Dunkirk. I love Interstellar. And I've not said Inception. I've not said Inception, have I? So yeah.
You haven't seen Inception?
No, I've not said Inception.
Oh, okay.
Oh, so wait, I've said 5, right?
Yeah.
Wait, let me. So yeah, let's say I'll put the Odyssey in the top 5. Memento definitely. Interstellar definitely. Inception definitely. Oh no, Inception over Dunkirk for me.
Okay.
Dunkirk might be like 6.
Okay.
Yeah, Inception. Yeah,
that's fair.
Yeah,
that's fair.
for sure. Or I'll switch it around, whatever in it. Cool. But yeah, those would be like my top 5.
Yeah.
I think I'm not really a war movie guy, but I love Dunkirk. Like I really, really love that film.
What did you not like about the film?
That's a really good question.
You touched about, how you felt the characters, like the female characters in this film could have been expanded a lot deeper, or not. Yeah. What would you say?
I'll be real, there's not a lot that I can think of right now that I think I didn't like. Okay, actually, no. No, let me not cap. So, didn't like is strong. I do think the film is weaker on some of the more emotional moments.
Yeah.
Like, this film is so big and huge in its spectacle, in its story, and it has so much to do, right? It has so much to explain, so many aspects to, the story in general, right? but I don't think there was a lot that connected me with the characters as a whole. You know, there wasn't I knew Odysseus wanted to go home and he missed his family, but that wasn't something that I felt from him. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, maybe more so towards the end of the movie, but throughout it, that wasn't something that I really felt.
Yeah.
I didn't really feel Tom Holland's kind of longing to connect with his father and understand who his daddy
Pining
is.
for a daddy that he
Like it never really felt, I didn't really get the pining from him. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I mean, my man risked going out to wherever he went to you know, risking that to see if his daddy could get any information.
Like I knew it.
Yeah.
I just didn't feel it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I think there's very few moments where I could feel what the characters were feeling in those moments.
Gotcha.
Like we spoke about earlier, like Anne Hathaway when she was talking about how, like, who she wants, when she was talking about potentially selecting a suitor. Like, I felt her frustration. I felt her anger. I felt everything that she was feeling in that moment. I wouldn't say that they had the room to get those moments off consistently throughout the movie. What do you think, Noah?
Regarding what you did like, I hear that to an extent. I think there are certain moments, like with Tom's character, he played a good. I always forget the kid's name, but Tom's
Yeah,
role.
that's what I'm calling Tom. I can't pronounce it.
Tom's role. You know, I do feel the certain aspects of that. Like, look, all the actors and actresses, they were great in this. But because I even probably felt more of the emotion of the witch, Cersei. You know, her reasoning for like turning these geezers out here to like pigs and stuff. I think I felt that more than, say, that aspect. For instance, I think it doesn't really pull your emotional strings as much. Like, I guess even with Odysseus, like when he sees the ghost of his crew and he's feeling the weight and the guilt of like his actions and stuff, you feel that to an extent, but it doesn't really drag your emotions as much as you should. I was just like, I mean, you've made a few dumb mistakes. Your crew are dumb as hell as well, you know. So I didn't really feel that altogether. I would say, when you realize that, well, for me, the moment the light bulb switched with the Zendaya thing, with Athena, and realizing what happened to her in that moment, I felt that. I felt that because I think that's the moment you see the clarity is fully kicked in when he's talking to Athena, the beggar, and he's talking about how she's, you know, his actions like at Troy, really, and you really see him walking through the city, and maybe this lingered on that a lot. Could you cut a minute out or 2 minutes to give you your 2 hours 30 cut? Maybe not, but like. He's walking around Troy and he's looking around, he's seeing all the pillaging and all that stuff going on. And, you know, when he gets to Athena being dragged and getting ready to be cut, like chopped off, I think in that moment you see the regret of like, what have I done? Yeah,
because it connects to what Cersei said about his boy, about his crew.
Yeah.
Right? When he was like, well, they didn't hurt you. And she was like, well, they were going to. And like, she's talking about like how these men are, you know, going to war, attacking people, pillaging places. Yeah. But throughout the entire film, they've been presented as these heroic people.
Yeah, giving 300 vibes.
All they want to do is get back home. They're good men who've gone to war to serve their country, and they want to get back home to their families. But then, because in that moment, I almost didn't understand why Cersei felt so frightened of them when they made such a point to be like, we're not going to hurt you.
We'll put our weapons out.
We'll put our weapons out. Like all of that. Yeah. But then when we see what happened in Troy and we saw how they all were completely complicit in all the bad stuff that was happening there. And it's like, oh no, like the framing of it all completely shifts. I do
agree with that. I think, I think that's a good point because I didn't really think of that until you said it. And I was like, it didn't really pull my heart. Like even at the end when you think he's going to die, like surely, big man, you're not going to die after you've done all this.
I didn't see that.
But I was like, even then, I'm still not on that because he was like, no, not death. But
Exile. Yeah. That did feel a little bit like, a bit cheap, innit?
Because I didn't get this like, oh, is he gonna die now? But
Facts.
Okay.
At no point did I feel like bro was in danger.
Bro, like, come on. Yeah.
No, now we're talking about it, I feel like I've got more things to say, yeah? So another thing I didn't like, right? The film's not long enough. Yeah, that's my big issue.
Because this guy the director's cut, man.
Because if we had 30 more minutes...
Tell us how you really feel.
Yeah, if we had 30 more minutes, yeah, all of these characters have a bit more room to breathe.
Flesh
right?
them out.
Just to flesh them out just a little bit more, right? Just a little bit more, and I think that will create a much more immersive experience overall. That's problem one, right?
Okay.
Problem two that I think I have, or problem three, so I've actually said two already. So my third issue with this film is I don't think the third act pays off all the good work that the whole film does as well as it could have done. I found the last act a bit underwhelming in moments.
Interesting.
Yeah.
See, the third act, I think it lands the plane smoothly.
Okay.
I felt it was shot brilliantly, and I think the sound, if they're gonna give the sound, I don't know, sound engineer or sound, VFX, well, not VFX, but like just from a sound perspective, an award, that third act.
Do you think?
The lead up to everything, we knew what was going to happen with the act. I think because they even played that out, and I actually do agree with you. I think maybe because we already saw a scene of that at the start, that didn't help. Because you get a flashback of like when he's just like his little party trick of like.
Yeah.
I wish they didn't give us that.
Okay.
Because seeing that already, as soon as we're like, yeah, we know what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
I mean, we knew that anyways, but I think if that just came as a landing of like, boom, but I think the build up, because if you're listening to the music, it just starts off, then like,
Okay, yeah, to be fair. Yeah.
That, the build up was insane, but I think we all knew what was gonna happen.
Yeah, I'd agree with your point there. I think if the first time we ever saw somebody draw the bow and do the trick was in that moment where he did it, it would have hit harder. Because as you said, we knew it was coming. We already
knew, so as soon as
it was coming.
My challenge, saw them say, it was like, we know what's going on.
That's actually valid. Yeah.
Because we already knew that, you just felt like, okay, there's nothing it's going to give us that. Like, and I do actually understand why you feel the third act wasn't too great, because once he gets back to Ithaca, you just already see how it's playing out.
Literally everything leading up to it, you had obviously him getting back to Ithaca, you had him going around meeting everybody, doing all the stuff, like everything's building up to it. And then we get like the big fight scene, but it's not really that big a fight scene. And
I get why you feel.
And then even the moments that where we're meant to see Odysseus as this like really majestic, brave, strong being, and he's standing there with the arrows in his back. Again, it's just not, that moment isn't hitting for me as much as it could have done.
As it could have,
Right, and I think the film does so much amazing work in the lead up to it. I wouldn't say that it pays it off as strongly as it could have done.
It lands the plane, but doesn't,
Just a bit bumpy. Do you know what I mean? Like he lands it and then it comes off the runway a little bit and then comes back down.
Oh, you have to hold the seat.
Yeah, exactly.
Just hold the seat.
Just the one, just to like steady yourself, innit? Like nothing crazy. But I think, but look, like this is me being picky. This is me being picky. As an overall experience, I thoroughly loved and enjoyed this movie.
I appreciate that though, that even despite the recency bias, we could see a film for what it is and actually be like, you know what, there are things about this that, because it's so easy to come out and be like, oh my God, and look, it was phenomenal. I'm still there trying to process every scene in my head, but there's still bits that you could think, interesting. The casting decision, or like, for me, I still think the language or dialect they use, I feel like going with the Americanized
Did that
English,
throw you off?
It was a bit annoying.
Okay.
It is a bit annoying. Like, obviously, you're not going to go with, they're not speaking Greek or whatever. So the least you could do is, I don't know, and maybe we're trained to understand this old English is kind of like the ideal language they were speaking back then, but I think it works better. Like even then, like you're pining over a father or a parent or something rather than daddy, like daddy or mom.
Okay, I hear you. I hear you. I think, to be fair, I think that's a valid point. But I think in the beginning, I found it distracting, I'll be honest. But I do understand why they did it. I think if you're requiring the audience to sit for that amount of time and absorb the amount of detail that this story has, right, and the amount of dialogue that this story has, right, it has to be presented in a way that's going to be palatable to everybody watching. And unfortunately, we have to admit it, the world has grown up watching American movies. It's an accent we all understand.
But you don't need to go down the full, like, Shakespearean sort of lingo. Like, you don't need to be all wherefore and here with and whatever. Like, or old English, but just like daddy, like.
Yeah, that part stuck with you, clearly.
I was like, like, I don't know. Even when he called it like mom. Like mother, like everyone knows mother, like like father, like Father's Day, like you could just say, before we knew, we could have heard some like, I don't know, just something, some slang that's like from the,
Just gonna take a quick pause from talking about this movie and kind of because I've got a new segment now that we didn't do the last time, right? So
I'm ready.
So we're going to kind of just pause talking on the Odyssey, but just talk about some of the things that's happening in the film and TV space, right? Because this has been a big week in the film and TV space. It's been a big week. Obviously, the Odyssey is out, right? It's probably the first of 4 big movies that we're going to get in 2026, right? So earlier this week, we got the release of the Emmys, the Emmy nominations. So have you been following that at all?
I caught the nominations.
Okay. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So, and obviously the biggest story is that The Pit has got 25 Emmy nominations, right? Which is actually insane when you think about it. But 25 is nuts. But have you ever seen it before?
I started watching The Pit this week and I see the vision. I think the first episode, because I just recently watched The Resident. Okay. Which is, initially I was like, oh, this is giving The Resident. Okay. I thought it was like a mix of The Resident and The Bear. Just in intensity, especially the first episode, and I was like, whoa, this is really intense. You come in and boom, it's like patient after patient after patient, and it's like, it was only after the episode I realized, oh snap, this is supposed to be in 1 hour. And I think that's when I thought, oh, they're doing like a 24 kind of thing. You know, and I thought, you know what, because initially I felt like, okay, I wish in the first episode, I'm talking back to what we were saying about what Matt Damon and Ben Affleck were talking about, like the idea of getting someone's attention in the first. I felt they focused so much on like, let's highlight or emphasize how intense this hospital is than fully fleshing out the characters that you want to get invested in. So I was watching it and it was like, okay, this patient, that patient. And I think by the end of the episode, I was like, okay, we've covered about 6-7 patients and what's going on, but we're not really building to get to know the characters. And this was just talking from the first episode which I saw. But I think after the episode and I clocked, oh, this is just 1 hour of the day. I was like, okay, I see what they did.
Yeah, you gotta give it. Yeah, you gotta give it.
That was like, this is one of those shows that you're not just gonna like. It's not like all her fault that in the first scene, boom, my child is missing. It's literally okay. So I see the vision. I'm not at the point, I haven't seen enough to say this fully, give it all the Emmys, but if it's done properly to what I think it could, I get it.
Okay, fair. Yeah, look, I've seen it.
All of it?
Yeah, it's fantastic. Like, if you love I love a medical drama. I'm one of those guys who
Grey's Anatomy.
I low-key think I'm a doctor. Like, I can diagnose stuff because of my extensive knowledge from watching medical TV shows.
You're not squirmish or anything.
I didn't say that. I just said I can diagnose stuff.
That first episode out here rejoining.
But the Pit is amazing. 25 is crazy. I do think it's deserved. I think that there was a really interesting story about The Pit, right? Because there's an actress who played, I think, a cancer patient in season 2. Who wasn't submitted to be nominated by HBO.
Oh, okay.
Right? She wasn't submitted, so she self-submitted herself
Oh.
to the Emmys and got a nomination. Right?
You know what?
Which is such an incredible story. And I think a testament to backing yourself.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? Like, especially when you're in, because especially like it must be so easy to think, well, HBO know what they're doing. If they don't think they're not going to submit me because they don't think I'm going to win.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Or
Yeah,
even
of
get
course.
nominated. So what's the point? But she backed herself.
Trust the source.
And done it, and was able to actually get a nomination for herself, which I think is
big ups to her. Actually, that's brilliant. Actually, to think about
Yeah.
it, because you don't find stories like this.
So out of all the stuff that you did see about the Emmys, were there any shows that you saw that you felt did deserve the nominations that they got?
All Her Fault, absolutely.
Okay, yeah, I'm a man of that.
so.
I love that show.
From best drama, I believe it was, to lead actress as well in I forgot.
Sarah Snook?
Yes,
Yeah.
From boy, that show took me. I was like,
Places.
yeah,
Roller coaster. Stress.
Completely.
Yeah. I hear it.
And I was hooked from the jump. Like, I think Night of the Seven Kingdoms. You know what?
I love that show.
I'm here for that.
I love that show.
I'm here for that because I think Game of Thrones, obviously, it's got its reputation for everything. But I think with Knights of Seven Kingdoms, Arya Parker decided to do the showrun, did something completely different to what you see in your typical A World of Ice and Fire sort of world, really. And, they give you, it's light, it's short, it's witty, it's like almost trying to break the fourth wall. Like, there are all these little things that you see that I think it's completely different to what we get in Game of Thrones. And it was just refreshing having a show of that quality in the mix of like House of the Dragon. And
A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, I absolutely adored. Like, loved it. Like, I'm going to be honest. Yeah, this is a safe space. Yeah, well, I hope so. Anyway, after the end of Game of Thrones, I kind of fell out of love with Westeros.
Understandable,
whole, right? Like,
a lot of us were burnt badly.
Yeah,
I'm a book reader.
It was so it disappointed me so much that I stopped recommending it to people because I felt guilty telling people who haven't seen Game of Thrones to have them fall in love with the series and then it ended the way.
Those 2 bad seasons outweigh a solid 4 seasons and 2 okay seasons.
No.
Yeah.
I don't think it does.
Because the first 4 seasons, honestly,
some of the best TV
top tier
ever. And like even the 2 seasons that people didn't like, what's that, 5 and 6?
5 and 6, yeah.
I still liked. I still really enjoyed, but
you got Winds of Winter and Battle of the Bastards. And
exactly. But the ending really, like, I felt like
I get it.
I took it personally. It felt like a personal attack on me as a person.
Season 7 wasn't horrible, but there are warning signs.
Yeah.
There were warning signs in 7 that, okay, and 8 was just a
mess.
mess.
It just felt like they stopped caring. They all just wanted to get out of it.
Caring.
Yeah.
They had Star Wars coming up, which ended up being nothing.
Absolutely in the bin anyway. But so like, it really frustrated me. So I fell out of love with Westeros.
George, finish them books, man. Boy.
Tell him.
Finish them books.
Tell him, bro. Honestly. But so like, even when House of the Dragon came out, I wasn't that interested in it. Like, I watched season 1 and wasn't really enthralled, if I'm honest. So I didn't rush to season 2, and I've not rushed to season 3, right? But when A Night of the Seven Kingdoms came out, again, very apprehensive. I was just a bit like, I'll give it a go. First episode, I was like, oh, I'm in. Love this. Loved the tone of it. Loved the framing of it. I love the buddy comedy element to it. I love the dynamic between Egg and Duncan. Like, I even loved how short the episodes were, even though I grew to hate it because I just wanted more of it. Do you know what I mean? But just everything about it felt like a breath of fresh air. And it like, completely reinvigorated my interest in Westeros and the stories that inhabit that world. But it was just top tier.
The PTSD that D&D have caused a lot of people from the absolute nonsense they did in the end of Game of Thrones, honestly,
Bro, jail.
Yeah.
Jail.
Could we say that?
Jail. No, like, you can't.
If they landed that plane of Game of Thrones, it's like that meme of the horse where you see the beautiful
regal
tail and everything.
And then it just goes.
Give it to a 5-year-old to draw. Criminal what they did. Game of Thrones, if that plane was landed, for me, considering all the shows and everything I've watched, that show would have been top 2, not 2 for me.
Yeah, it would have been one of the best shows of all time. Of all time. Because it was.
I struggle to put that as top 3 now.
I can't. In good conscience, I can't, because the way it ends does such a disservice to everything that had happened before. But that's just a me thing. I stand on the answer that you had to that question. Does a bad ending ruin 4, 5, 6 of great TV?
Yeah.
No, it doesn't. But is it very hard for me to go in and rewatch Game of Thrones knowing what's coming? It's so hard for me to do so.
I went back to watch Game of Thrones because House of Dragon comes up once every 2 years. I just thought, let me rewatch Game of Thrones again. And I was fuming. Watching. But one thing I will say about House of the Dragon is they're learning the mistakes of Game of Thrones.
Okay, so because you are a proper Throney, right? You've read
all the books.
Yeah, you've read the book,
all of it.
You watch all the shows, right? So I think out of everybody that I know in my life that I would trust to convince me,
okay,
should I give House of the Dragon an actual chance?
Absolutely. The reason I'll say that, okay,
Well, man's
no pressure.
wait.
No.
Do you see him shift positions? Right. You see how you change? Okay, all right. Cool.
No pressure. So I think the way House of Dragon is done and what I like about it is Game of Thrones was POV chapters of, from the books anyways, it's done from the perspective of the individual characters, and like it could be a room and it could be Tyrion in a room and him just observing things. House of the Dragon is more of like a history book, and the way it's done is it's written 100 years after the events of what's happened, but it's coming from 3 people, and it's always a thing of, some people said, so it could be a case, someone died, and it's like, some people said he got killed in the room, some people said he killed himself, or this other person thinks this is what happened. And I think House of the Dragon does a good job of like knitting the story together, because it's kind of creating the real truth of what happened.
Okay.
It's like us looking back on history from like the 18th century, and it's like, okay, well, you've got all these accounts of what happened, but House of Dragon does a great job of actually creating the narrative of this is what really happened.
Okay.
I think they've learned a lot of lessons from Game of Thrones.
Okay.
Without getting into spoilers, but you have one thing that really pissed a lot of people off was Dany going mad in 4 episodes.
Wound me up, yeah.
Not even 4, it's like 2, 3 episodes.
2 episodes, yeah.
You know, and I think House of Dragon is giving you a storyline of absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Okay.
And it's showing you how you might have the best intentions, you might have the kindest heart, but in this world of a Game of Thrones where you win or you, whatever that saying is, you win or you die, it's showing you how even the people with the best intentions could still mess up.
Okay.
Because it's not, and it does a good job of saying, look, you don't just, you know, we always end the storyline of you return home. Not talking about Odyssey, but, or you finally win the crown, or you finally kill the emperor, but it's like, how do you rule after that? And I think House of Dragon is showing you how errors and intentions could be. I think visually it's great, great acting.
Okay.
Matt Smith, Emma Darcy, Paddy, Constance, Olivia, I almost said Olivia Cook, but I might be wrong. But I think apart from that, even just the dragons, like it tells you so much stories about the relationship, because that's one thing we didn't really get in Game of Thrones.
Okay, so there's more We actually learn more about the
15
dragons.
dragons in this.
Okay.
And each dragon has its own personality, and you can almost differentiate.
And we see that?
Yeah.
Oh,
you see
swear.
all the dragons.
Oh, okay.
You see all the dragons. You get to learn about their different personalities and behaviors and stuff. And even this idea of like a dragon, you know, is something, a beast you can control. You see areas of like, oh no, you don't. And you just see the relationship every rider has with this dragon. And I don't know, for me, I just think they're learning a lot of the mistakes that Game of Thrones could not do at the end. And they're finding a way to tell us a story about a household that completely falls apart by the time you get to Game of Thrones. Because you all kind of know this story. By the time you get to Game of Thrones, Targaryens are barely alive. The only one. So, spoiler alert.
Something happens, clearly.
Something happens that there are not many dragons left. But it does a good job of showing you how a civil war with a family can absolutely destroy everything from within.
Okay. Do you know what? You've done a good job. I will go back to that. I will go back to it. In fact, I'll go back to it next week.
Okay.
I'll go back to it next week. Thoughts. And I'll start again from season 1 because I don't remember anything. I don't remember anything from it. So I'll start again from season 1 and I'll just try and blitz through it. As much as possible.
Season 3 right now is giving us classic Game of Thrones.
Okay. Like early Game of Thrones.
Yeah, and the reason I say this without getting into too much of it is because season 1, a lot of it is happening within the same walls. You know, they're all in Westeros. No, not Westeros, but they're more in King's Landing, so everything's all happening in the same space. Whereas you've got to season 3, Civil War's kicked in, Dance of the Dragons is happening, and everyone's kind of scattered in different places. In the Vale, in Harrenhal, in King's Landing, in Dragonstone. And you're now getting the good parts of Game of Thrones where, you know, you're chopping from like one scene in like the Vale, then you come back to Harrenhal, then you come back to another place. You're getting peak.
Okay. All right.
Season 3.
All right. Cool. Yeah. Fine. I'll watch it. I'll watch it. I'll watch it. And then the next time we do this, we can do a debrief on.
See if I actually converted you.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Cool. And then one of the things that I want to talk to you about, because I know you're a fan of this series, so obviously this week we got the release of some of the images from the adaptation of Children of Blood and Bone, right? Yes. And also a whole lot of drama behind the scenes of what's been happening there. Yeah. So I guess let's start with the images. Like, have you seen them? What do you think about it?
I've seen all the images.
So I've not read the books. You've read the books,
I've read all the books.
Okay, fine. So from what you've seen thus far, like, what are your thoughts?
So context, I'm a big fan of the book. The first 2 books were great. I remember reading the first book, and listen, I'm at Afro Nation 2022, and I could not put this book down.
Whilst you're at Afro Nation?
I got back in every single night and I'm reading Children of Blood and Bone. I started reading it on the flight there. I'm on the beach in the afternoon resting and I'm reading this book.
Oh, wow.
That tells you how much I love the book.
That also tells me he wasn't doing Afro Nation properly. However, that's not what we're here for.
Moving on. But yeah, so the first 2 books, phenomenal. The third book, I'm not too particularly great. I'm not so much in love with them. Okay. When I heard they were doing an adaptation, I was excited. Really, really excited because I felt this is a series a book essentially that you could bring to life. Because there's a lot of stuff they talk about, especially it's kind of loosely based on like Nigerian, specifically Yoruba culture. And that's where I'm from. So I think there was a lot that felt like home to me. And I was excited to see how they were going to bring this together. But I also have my concerns because initially when you see a lot of these stories being told, you know, how does Hollywood essentially capture this? And it comes down to a few things. Are they going to stay true to the book? When it comes to the casting, are they going to give the opportunity to up and coming talent from a particular region or area as opposed to make it fully star-studded thing? I'll be honest, when the casting came up, I was gassed because I saw all these names and I was like, whoa, Regina King, Idris Elba, Damson Idris, Tosin Cole, you know, Viola Davis, and obviously there are more names in there, Cynthia Erivo, there was like LaShawn, I was like, bruv, like, bang, bang, bang.
Yeah.
to hold
Just name
everything.
after name after name.
After name.
Yeah.
Then after a month or so, I actually thought it was fake.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I remember the video of Tomi Adeyemi, the writer, and I was like, nah, you're playing with us.
Yeah.
But when I thought about it, I was like, huh.
Because what I liked about the cast, and sorry to cut in there, but what I liked about the casting as somebody who doesn't know anything about these books or necessarily also the culture that it's based on, right? I was glad to see names of people that I would like to think are somewhat familiar with Yoruba culture.
True.
Who could have, I hope anyway, an impact on how this story is being
told.
Adapted.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes. I remember, and I had a few concerns as well from that, because some characters like Amari, who's played by Amanda, is it Amanda or Amanda?
Yeah, it's like Amandia Stenberg.
I had my concerns with that, because in terms of her character, she doesn't essentially look like who her character is.
Right.
Her character is a darker skin, which when the release pictures came out, you're like, huh.
She's much fairer skinned, isn't she?
She's fairer skinned, but you've also kind of darkened her for this.
Right, okay.
And that is a bit like...
That's a no-no. Yeah, especially in the community.
You really need to do that when they... Because that's one part of her story in the book, so it's like this princess, who she is kind of like taking the piss out of, or it's almost ridiculed about being darker skinned than her family.
There is like a colorism.
There's like a bit of, and there is colorism in this, in certain cultures and stuff, especially. And so when you see that, you're like, huh, interesting. You've gone with her for that. And as an American actress as well, you think, okay, now this is going to be a dialogue when it comes out. How are you guys going to do the accent thing, or how are you going to? Because that was one thing that irked me the hell out of Black Panther. As much as I loved it, I was not a fan of
the accent. Okay.
No.
I mean, I think it's funny because with American movies, I just don't think they ever get accents.
But why can't you get people from Africa playing? There are a lot of talented actors and stuff. So going back to the cast, I thought very star-studded. And I don't think this film would work without any big stars. I think, like for instance, I think Regina King as the Queen is a phenomenal choice. I think she will body that role. But there's so many other roles that I think you could have given this to someone else.
Yeah, it's an interesting dialogue, right? Because we already know how Hollywood feels about movies and stories made with predominantly black casts, right? Yeah. Like, we know how hard it's been. We know how hard it is to get stories and movies for black people, made by black people, not just made, but then also distributed for the world to see, right? Black Panther did an amazing job of not only showing that you can make a great movie with a predominantly black cast, but that people will come out to see it and it can make money.
Do you think people came out more for Black Panther because it was part of a Marvel franchise? No,
I think Black Panther was a movement because of its subject matter.
Of course.
Personally, yes, Black Panther, for a lot of comic book nerds or black people who are comic book nerds, is a moment, right? Yeah. Because no way did I ever think that we were going to get a Disney movie, a Black Panther movie. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, distributed by Disney. I never thought I'd see it in my lifetime. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? But also, I think once we saw the reception and how people were showing out, it took on a life of its own. People wanted to see it because it was representing a culture, a group of people that people had never seen before. Yeah. And I think that's probably one of the reasons why this adaptation has been made, right? Yeah. If I'm very honest, is purely because we've had two successful Black Panther movies that people have come out to go and see, and Paramount have seen this as an opportunity to cash in, whether or not their intentions are right for doing that.
My worry is they had the intentions to recreate a Black Panther, but my big concern is it's going to end up being another Woman King.
Okay.
I mean, it's same director, right?
Yeah. Yes, it is.
I feel like this film, more so than Woman King, maybe is being tailored to the American crowd.
Okay.
The Black
Okay,
American
that's
crowd.
interesting.
And you can even see with the reception online, the Black Americans, and I'm not speaking, we're not a monolith, but from what I see, a lot of the demographic in America who are predominantly Black are excited to see this. From what they've seen, they're like, I will be there no matter what. Whereas you find from the diaspora, especially a lot of people who are African or those in the UK are very much like,
Unsure about it.
I'm unsure about this. This is giving Timu Wakanda, or they're giving, and it's, I feel like my concern is, even with the outfits, for instance, it looks, from what I saw, makeup, costume looks good, but does it reflect more of that Nigerian culture? No.
Okay.
It seems more like you've created a rendition of a generic version of like an African tribe.
Okay.
Which on one hand, this is not a true story. It's kind of like, it's a fictional story based in a land that is
similar,
but also existing in Nigeria. So, it's based in Nigeria and all this, but all the Orisha stuff is kind of borderline fictional as well. So it's kind of merged in, where Wakanda was like a whole new place, which was completely fictional. So I think my concern was more also how much money is being put behind this. You need the big cast to sell the film or to promote the film. I get why they've done this, but when you see stuff about the director, the writer, the author completely detaching herself from the whole franchise,
it worries me.
That worries me a lot. It worries me a lot. But at the same time, is it on her or is it on
the studio?
The studio.
Yeah.
Because when the controversy kicked up about, Amanda playing Amari, she backed it.
Yeah, she spoke up for her.
She spoke up
in the
for
beginning.
her.
Yeah, she did.
But all of a sudden, you're the one who's blocking Amanda. Releasing all the screenshots, and I can't say she's conducted herself in a way that is professional. Who knows? But that's not looking good.
It's not. That's
not looking good.
Yeah.
So, and also going back to what I was saying about budget and how much is put behind this, the story is very fictional in the sense of superpowers and Harry Potter-esque, and I think, is this going to look like a badly botched up CGI job? Or is this still going to have a good quality that upholds, like with Black Panther, there was a lot of money and backing with this. And this was Marvel, Disney money we're talking about. Now, is it Lionsgate or Paramount? Yeah, that are doing this. I don't know. Yeah,
I think it's an interesting question to pose. Paramount has money. If anything we've seen recently, Paramount has money, right?
Yeah.
So I guess I think where I agree with you with your concern about budget is how much are they going to trust, sorry, not Gina Prince Blythewood, the director, with how much do they trust her with to make this movie? And also, what does she have not necessarily the experience, but also the team around her to help create great set pieces with CGI that will look
authentic,
cool. Yeah, because I think one of the things that people said about the Black Panther movie, kind of when the dust settled a little bit, was that the CGI wasn't great, right? Like the final sequence in the Black Panther movie where you've got Killmonger and Black Panther fighting each other on the train tracks, and it looks a bit cartoony in moments. Like it's obviously been 5 years, 6 years? Was it? No, 2018.
No, 2018, yeah.
So what, 8 years since that movie came out? Yeah. Crazy. That's actually insane. But yeah, it's been a long time since that movie came out. But even then, it's like the CGI is a bit choppy, right? So, and I think I think parts of that could be down to the fact that Ryan Coogler at the time maybe didn't know how to direct a movie that requires CGI. Yeah. He hadn't done anything that required it really up until that point. So I think there's a question there that needs to be answered. But I think exactly as your point about the author Tommy Adeyemi removing herself from everything is a big concern.
It's a big concern.
Historically, when an author or creator of a series or anything, a story that's been turned or adapted into a movie or series,
I want nothing to do with this.
It's a big problem. It's a big, big problem.
They had to reshoot I think there was a couple of scenes I think they had to reshoot not long ago. I think it was like April time. And these are the things that make you concerned. Or is it her leaving now? Is it after Because surely, if she left midway through or before filming, I guess you have concerns. But if she's leaving now, then you think,
what's the clash?
What's the clash?
Yeah. And clearly there's been a clash.
A huge clash.
Yeah. So it worries me.
Worries me.
Yeah.
I will watch it.
Me too.
Because
me too.
it was one of my favorite, like the first book especially, I was hooked. It had me in a complete chokehold. My man's reading the Afro Nation.
Yeah, that's insane. No, it's not insane.
Not actually Afro Nation.
No, I know.
Like, like during the day and before we went out. So, yeah, I'm intrigued.
No, I mean, look, I think it's out, I think early next year. I'm going to be watching.
Even the time it's out, January is
I think it's a good time. Are you worried about the time it's out?
When Black Panther came out, we were in Feb. Okay, I'm trying to think about it now because January seems to just be the dumping ground where you just chuck anything in there.
The thing is, I think you're right, but also we should be coming off the back of Doomsday and Doomsday.
Doomsday.
Yeah.
Doomsday.
Do you know what I mean? So by then, both Avengers and the Dune 3 movie would have been out for a significant period of time. And the avenue should be clear for a big budget movie for people to go and sit in, because people don't go out as well in January, right? So in theory, it's a great time to go to the cinema because no one has money to spend. Nobody wants to go out and do anything. So you can just go park up and sit in the cinema. I think February would be like coinciding with American Black History Month would be the absolute
peak,
like no-brainer to release it then.
That's what I'd have thought. And you're creeping into award season as well. I mean, I'm not expecting anything, maybe costume designs and stuff.
Maybe. I mean, who knows?
Who knows?
The acting talent's there. Like, again, they might not even be going for award season in 2027. They might be aiming for 2020.
I am concerned, I will say that. Yeah. I am concerned, but I will be there to support. Am I going to rock up in full Agbada and trad like I did for Black Panther? Absolutely.
Did you actually?
Yeah, I did.
I rate that still.
Yeah, I
rate that still. Well, I can now, thanks to you.
Hey.
So I can now, so I will now. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Okay, cool. No, I'm really intrigued. As somebody who knows nothing about the story, nothing at all, I think the premise interests me a lot. The cast really excites me.
It'd be good to get your thoughts after you've seen it.
Yeah.
And don't read the books now. I'll say wait till after. Yeah.
I won't. I'll watch the first movie and then depending on what happens, I might go back and read the books afterwards. But because it's a story that's right up my street. Like people who know me, that this is my bag. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So no, I'm looking forward to watching it. it. Okay, cool. So before we wrap up, just going back to the Odyssey. So last few questions, just to kind of tie things over. If you had to describe the Odyssey as a type of food, what would it be?
Oh, this is tough. Right. I would say a Mediterranean seafood platter.
Okay. Say more words. Why? I think I get it.
Seafood say more for
obviously. Yeah.
You know, the journey. But I would also say, I think it's a mix of stuff. So you're thinking of a seafood platter, you've got a mix of like oysters and mussels and shrimps and prawns and lobsters and like maybe chucking a little sea bass in there as well. Yeah. I feel like the film has certain areas across it. So you're thinking through the meal, it's filling, it's not heavy. I don't think the film felt heavy, but it felt filling, and at the end I felt satisfied. You know, and you go through a roller coaster of like certain parts where it's just easy to get through, of like just you're coasting with the film. The bits you need to like really sit in and dissect. So we're talking like crabs and stuff that you're having to like really the bits that you might need to nitpick through, you know, and then you get your delicacies like and there might be bits that prick you, like you're eating through a whole sea bass, you might get a few bones like, here and there.
There's bits you love, bits you don't.
The bits that might taste a bit weird, like, you know, mussels and stuff is not everyone's cup of tea, but you also get the delicacy. This is a meal. So I think I'll say seafood because one, Mediterranean, and two, I think, just it's a full course.
I like that. I like that as a description. it's a lot of food.
A lot of food. It's a lot of food.
You get stuff that you like, you get stuff that you don't.
Maybe not like.
Yeah, and then but all together, it's a lovely, enjoyable experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. I'm messing with that. That's good. All right, cool. And before we wrap up, so you know the last question I always have.
Okay.
So obviously, where's your camera? That's your camera.
Yeah.
So look at the camera.
Okay, cool.
Right? So last thing, as always, one film or TV show that you think people need to watch and that you would recommend to them. And you can't say The Odyssey because we've just seen it.
TV show, Nemesis. I'm just...
Don't piss me. This guy's taking a piss, man.
Gotcha.
Hey,
oh, man. Nemesis, you know.
I was about to judge the hell out of you, bro. I was about to judge the hell out of you. Oh, my gosh.
Wow. I will get people to watch House of the Dragon just because I feel like they've done a great job of capturing, they've just learned their mistakes from Game of Thrones, and I feel they're doing such a good job of showing this epic battle or civil war between a family together. I think the storyline's done really well. I think they've done a good job of adapting the book, and I think, yeah, just you don't even have to read the books to even follow this, but I would say, I'm just really enjoying what House of the Dragon is doing right now, and I'm just soaking all of that in, and no, it's good TV, really good TV.
All right, cool, fair enough. Do you know what? Game of Thrones, I'm not mad at, or House of the Dragon, I'm not even mad at that. I am gonna start watching it though, so, cool. And I'll let you know if I like it, but yeah, that was a very passionate statement for House of the Dragon, so we'll see if people take it on board. We'll see if people take it on board. But Tony, man, look, as always, this has been dope.
Pleasure,
bro.
man.
This has been dope.
Pleasure.
I'm glad we locked this in. I think we locked this in during Project Hail Mary. Yeah, like I think we locked this one in. It
had to be done for this.
Yeah, you are literally the Nolan stan, so it had to be you. Had to come watch this. But genuinely, thank you so much for coming on.
Anytime, man. Anytime.
Like, love having these conversations with you about movies. I'll be real, this chat has been all over the place. There's been no structure to this conversation whatsoever, but that's just how much has happened in this film.
It's good just hearing people's thoughts, man.
Yeah,
like, even there's so much you were saying, it's like, I didn't actually think about this, but I'm going to watch it next week.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to go back to watch it next week, and I feel like I'm just going to take in so much more.
No, I'm going to do the same. I'm going to do the same. I'm just going to decide whether or not I do it before my review or after. Do you know what I mean? I might do both. We'll see. But no, this has been fun. This has been really, really fun. Look, people, if you've made it this far, I know there's been a really long conversation, so thank you very, very much for listening. Hope you've enjoyed it. If you want to see more conversations like this, you want to see me, I'll beg Tony to come back if you want to see him. But subscribe, like, follow, all that good stuff. It's Kwame's Watchlist on all platforms. I'll tag Tony in the comments as well, so if you want to go follow him for some reason, you can go do that, but it's fine. But yeah, you lot, love for watching, and yeah, I'll see you guys next time.